Hello kind people of YouTube and welcome back to another video. I've been promising to do a normal news video where I just go through a couple articles for like 2 days now and I'm finally doing it. Like I said in yesterday's video, I had an issue with the sound when I tried to record a news video 2 days ago. I recorded a video that was I think about 35 minutes long, and then when I listened back to it I noticed I had messed up the sound settings and my voice was cutting out every other word. So I got sad and I didn't make another video that day. But I'm back, another update video, and as always we are going to look at the markets before looking at a small assortment of articles that I found interesting today. So let us start by refreshing CoinMarketCap. And we see market cap above 200 billion again. Now I haven't made update videos the last couple days of course, so I haven't made a video when everything was down. But we already saw everything go above 200 billion about half a day ago, and it has crashed down a tiny bit after, and now we see it just on the border, 200 billion, 138 million, with Bitcoin dominance at still 56%. Most coins are in the red slightly, but as we can see, very much up from where they were 2 or 3 days ago. Bitcoin at $6,487, Ethereum above $200 again, safely above 200. XRP at 27 cents, almost 28. We saw that go down to I think 26 cents, but it didn't fall percentage-wise as much as some of the other tokens and coins. Bitcoin Cash 454 and EOS at 531. That was also getting dangerously close to being below $5. So everything is looking more or less fine again, or at least significantly better than it did a couple days ago. Like I said, we see most things slightly red, but everything is still very much up compared to 2 or 3 days ago. Now, if you've watched a few of my videos before, I have a lot of new people, so I have to say these things. If you've watched a few of my videos before, you know I always like to look at an analysis after, and the one I typically look at is the one from CoinDesk. I feel like they have the most insight to offer out of the major websites without getting too technical that is hard to understand. So let's look at this article. It is already a couple hours old and the numbers aren't completely on point anymore, but I think it still applies. It still gives us a good analysis of the last 36 hours or so. Let us read together. Having dropped back from 8-day highs hit this morning, Bitcoin price could be in for a bout of consolidation before further upside unfolds. The cryptocurrency rose to $6,596 earlier today on Bitfinex, the highest level since September 6th, adding credence to the short-term bullish reversal signaled by the symmetrical triangle breakout earlier this week. However, despite the strengthening bullish case, Bitcoin quickly lost around $200 soon before press time. As of writing, Bitcoin is changing hands at $6,450, having printed an intraday low of $6,355 a few minutes ago. And looking at the price right now, $6,487, so a bit higher since then. While the sudden price pullback could force investors to question the sustainability of the corrective rally, the short-term technical charts continue to show that the path of least resistance is on the higher side. Bitcoin's retreat from the highs near $6,600 is likely associated with the bearish divergence on the relative strength index seen in the hourly chart. Indeed, the RSI has adopted a bearish bias, but it is premature to call an end of the technical recovery, as the major moving averages 50-hour, 100-hour and 200-hour are still trending north in favor of the bulls. More importantly, the key MAs are capping the downside at press time. This leaves scope intact for a recovery to resistance at $6,800. On the daily chart, Bitcoin closed above the 10-day MI yesterday, neutralizing the bearish view put forward by the rising wedge breakdown on September 5th. However, the short-term MA is still sloping downwards. This, coupled with the bearish RSI divergence on the hourly chart, could keep the cryptocurrency range-bound for the next 24 hours or so. It's worth noting that technical recovery usually gathers speed after the short-term MAs bottom out, unless of course there is major positive fundamental news. And their view for the short term is, Bitcoin has retreated from 8-day highs, but the technical recovery is still intact. The cryptocurrency could consolidate around $6,400 in the next 3 hours before resuming the journey towards $6,800. UTC closed below the trendline connecting the June low and August 11th low would put the focus back on the rising wedge breakdown witnessed earlier this month and could yield a drop below $6,000. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say we saw a consolidation around 6.4 if we're looking at the actual the 1-day chart, we see here that it has stayed safely above there for the last 6 hours. So I'm pretty sure we can talk about a consolidation above 6,400 here. In which case, according to this analysis, the outlook is generally positive and we should see it heading towards 6,800 soon. So that is a positive outlook in my opinion. Now, next up, 2 articles where people are singing the praises of Bitcoin and having a bit of a more critical eye on altcoins, and I want to talk about them. Let's start with this one from CCN, their analysis. Bitcoin will rebound, but altcoins are never coming back, according to the BitPay executive. Or BitPay executive, not Bitcoin. A top executive of one of the oldest and largest cryptocurrency payment processors said that he firmly expects Bitcoin to rebound within the next year, but that altcoin prices may never again see their early 2018 peaks. The chief commercial officer at BitPay said during an interview with Bloomberg that his firm has never been more bullish on cryptocurrency, noting that adoption and infrastructure development is moving full speed ahead even as the market has shed approximately 80% of its value from its January peak. However, he notes that this infrastructure development has largely been concentrated on a single cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, which he expects to steadily eclipse the bulk of its supposed disruptors. And he said, altcoins will never come back, I believe, in the same way a Bitcoin will come back. You know, Fidelity, BlackRock, they're not launching altcoin products, they're going to launch Bitcoin products, so Bitcoin will rebound next year, when these mainstream products begin to see widespread releases, he said, adding that the initial coin offering market is in a lot of trouble. To this point, altcoins as a group have been affected by the precipitous market decline, sorry, I completely messed that word up, to a markedly greater degree than Bitcoin, whose market share in recent days has risen to 2018 highs. He said that he is not sure if the Bitcoin market has yet found its bottom, noting that trading sentiment appears to suggest that investors are looking for a defining moment or catalyst that will spur the next Bitcoin rally. Lately, he explained, investors have largely been trading on rumors of whether or not large financial institutions will roll out products for this nascent asset class. Consequently, it's unlikely that the Bitcoin price rally will see anything more than fits and starts until these rumors concretize into material actions, such as if Goldman Sachs actually starts trading cryptocurrency, BlackRock launches a Bitcoin ETF, or Square begins processing Bitcoin payments. He believes that such a catalyst will occur in the midterm, likely at some point in 2019. Now, I think there's a lot of reasonable stuff in here about the catalysts that might push crypto and Bitcoin in particular up. But I think he's just completely off base on altcoins here. Because, yes, a lot of these large companies are releasing Bitcoin products. But that is because Bitcoin is right now the most well-known, the most established cryptocurrency. They are starting with Bitcoin before they move into anything else. That just makes sense. Like, you're not going, if you're trying to get institutional investors, if you're trying to get mainstream investors, normal people into it, you're going to start by offering them Bitcoin-based products before you move them onto altcoins, because Bitcoin is what everyone has heard about in the news. Bitcoin is what people who aren't heavily involved in crypto know about. Now, all of that, yes, they're starting with Bitcoin. That doesn't mean only Bitcoin is seeing development. And we do see a lot, and I really mean a lot, of large companies, of banks moving into the altcoin space, either by developing their own tokens or by working with established tokens. We have Ripple partnering with so many banks to use both their technology without the XRP token and their technology with the XRP token. We have Stellar working with large companies. We have Ethereum ETFs being introduced. There's a lot going on with other tokens as well. We see massive funding going into it. I mean, EOS has 4 billion, Ripple has 20 billion behind them. They have established finance and tech people working for them. This is a very reductive view of the crypto markets and its future. It gets one step right, and that step is that in the near future, Bitcoin will probably do better than altcoins, and it extrapolates into the far future from that, and I think that is a massive mistake. That is a massive, massive mistake. Now, continuing on, John McAfee, a similar statement. He thinks Bitcoin is the #1 coin for processing payments, and once again, we're gonna look at him here. I think he makes one statement that makes a lot of sense and one that makes absolutely no sense here, and I want to look at them. John McAfee remains true to his vision of Bitcoin as the #1 cryptocurrency in the ecosystem, contradicting opinions that deny its nature as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So he stated in conversations with the AMB crypto team during the Coinsbank blockchain cruise. Mr. McAfee is one of the most influential personalities in the cryptocurrency community. His extensive knowledge of the ecosystem as well as his outspoken personality make his opinions to be highly respected, despite being controversial in some cases. This is a ridiculous statement. This is sucking his dick. I'm sorry, I don't know how some of my viewers feel about, that's not even swearing, but vulgar language. Sorry about that. But this is, whenever Ethereum World News and AMB Crypto are the two outlets where it always just seems like they're hyping up people and products. And, like, this, wow, he has extensive knowledge of the ecosystem. Well, yes, a lot of people do. That doesn't mean his opinions are necessarily to be highly respected. Like, he can be just as wrong as anyone else, and we can criticize his opinions just like we can anyone else's. The possibility of supporting each of his arguments with facts has made him a reference for many crypto adopters. Once again, I would put a big asterisk next to that, but let's just look at these statements. John McAfee commented that from a mathematical point of view, the value of Bitcoin, I'm so sorry, Bitcoin, my mind is just going places today, should be close to $1 million by 2020. The relationship between the number of bitcoins mined and the mining difficulty allows this conclusion to be reached, especially when the next block halving is approaching. This means that in a short time the amount of bitcoins that are put into circulation for each new block mined will be reduced by half, going from 12.5 bitcoin per block to 6.25, and which, this is what he said exactly. Why don't we look at the last Bitcoin? We have thousands of people to mine one coin. What is that coin going to be worth? Maybe billions. Mathematics doesn't lie. Say what you want, mathematics doesn't lie. If it's not $1 million in 2020, it has to be the end of 2020, December. That's my prediction. I'm going to stand by it. It is the #1 coin for processing transactions. Run the numbers. That is a massive misunderstanding of how value works. A massive, massive misunderstanding. Now, the way value is assigned to products in an economy is not primarily based on how much work goes into producing the product, but primarily it is based in either how much use that product objectively has, or how much we think how much use we think it has, how much we apply to it. So how expensive it is to create, or how many people are involved in creating it, is ultimately very secondary. Like, right now, Bitcoin is heavily tied to how hard it is to make, because it's a market controlled by miners. And with a lot of people in it who aren't really thinking about which use cases Bitcoin has. But once we get more institutional investment into the crypto space, they will be applying more and more valuation models that actually look at the use and not the cost of making it. You absolutely can't base a price prediction based on how much it will cost to make it. And the thing is, once the cost of mining Bitcoin eclipses how much the value judges Bitcoins are worth right now, people will just stop mining them. That is much, much, much more likely to happen than that the value of Bitcoin will skyrocket as more Bitcoin are mined. It's much more likely that at some point we will reach a valuation of Bitcoin where mining them is just so much more expensive than the value we assign to them that people will stop mining. That last Bitcoin will almost certainly just never be mined. So I'm a bit worried about his reasoning here, because like, any economist will tell you that this is utterly ridiculous. Like, just completely. Like, I think he could be right in that there could be a future in which Bitcoin is worth $1 million. But it won't be because it costs $1 million to mine it. It will be because the crypto space has gained so much steam, has gotten so much bigger, and Bitcoin remains the #1 spot, that all the money flowing into the markets will lift up its value because it's seen as the #1. It's a mental thing. Or alternatively, if we can actually develop Bitcoin-based products that are in use, if we can actually find a use case that works properly. And so far, most altcoins outperform Bitcoin if we look at that. Then the value could also shoot up. But this is not good math. Like, yes, if you apply that model, the price will reach $1 billion. In that way, math doesn't lie. But the thing is that that model doesn't align with reality. Like, I could make a mathematical model where the value of Bitcoin is doubled every other day. Like, and then that would give me the numbers I want. That would get to ridiculous numbers very quickly. And I could also say, look, math, it doesn't lie. Well, yes, the calculation doesn't lie, but does that calculation apply to reality? Like, just because you can mathematically calculate something doesn't mean that has any value. You need to match reality. Models are meant to approximate reality. And that is not how, in reality, value is assigned. So I'm a bit worried that this is being quoted and shared as if it was good economics. But next up, this is something I actually agree with him on. So here he said, there's no such thing as a wealthy short-term investor. For Mr. McAfee, the crypto mining industry is highly lucrative. According to his reasoning, the directly proportional relationship between Bitcoin value and its mining difficulty ensures that a sustained profitability level is always met for miners. No matter what the price of Bitcoin, you cannot lose money by mining Bitcoin. Let's say the price drops to $2,000, everybody gets out and the difficulty rate drops to 0, and you're cranking out millions of coins per day. Now, once that quote has so many issues with it once again, so I'm not even going to talk about that. But the thing in the headline here, there's no such thing as a wealthy short-term investor. I think that is a very, very, very good thing to keep in mind. If you're in crypto, you should absolutely be in it for the long run. There is money to be made from day trading, from shorting, but there is so much growth potential in crypto that honestly, it is almost certainly a better idea to buy now and to just wait, to hold them. Pick a few projects that have real use cases, that have real infrastructure behind them, that have a lot of funding, that have a lot of partnerships, and hold them for years and years and years and just wait. Because you can make money day trading, you can make money shorting, you can make money speculating. But the really big money is in being smart about which tokens, which coins you buy and holding onto them. So yeah, I think McAfee has made some good predictions in the past and has he occasionally has some wisdom to share, but this is a complete misunderstanding of economics, and I'm honestly shocked how he could have gotten to this. I'm honestly shocked. This is just utterly ridiculous. But let us move on. I don't want to get angry here. Some actual news now. ECB has no plans to issue a digital euro, says Mario Draghi. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Now, there was some people have been rumoring that Europe, or rather the European Union, is planning to introduce a EU-mandated cryptocurrency, one by the central bank. Now, there are apparently no plans to do this. And let's look at the article quickly. We don't have to read the whole thing. The chief of the European Central Bank said Friday that the institution sees no concrete need to issue a digital version of the euro, Reuters reports. In a letter to a member of the European Parliament, ECB President Mario Draghi said a lack of robustness in the technology that would underlie such an endeavor, as well as the high levels of physical cash use across the EU, meant the option is not on the table at present. The ECB and the Eurosystem currently have no plans to issue a central bank digital currency, he said. And then it goes on about his criticisms of the technology and so on, and quickly looking at some countries that are actually considering this with a bit more enthusiasm. Now, this isn't really a big piece of news. I just wanted to share it because I've seen a lot of discussion around this. I've also had a few people ask me now in the last couple of days, I guess because I'm European. A few people have asked me if the European Union is introducing either its own cryptocurrency or its own alternative to SWIFT in the near future. And cryptocurrency clearly not coming, at least in the immediate future. And as for that alternative to SWIFT, now there has been a bit of a shift in the last couple of years in world finance, where people have tried to whip the center of finance away from America a bit. Some of it is political, some is economical. China has been building up its own alternative. Some Arab countries have been building up their own alternatives. And there has been some discussion in Europe about developing their own system. But there is absolutely nothing concrete. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no plan from any actual governments or from the European Union. All I know is that some individual politicians have mentioned that it might be an option in the future to develop a system of their own that might replace SWIFT or at least run alongside it. Because the way it works right now, SWIFT, which is the system used for international monetary transfers, has been in use since 1973, I believe. SWIFT is officially controlled by Brussels, but unofficially under massive American influence, and people are trying to get away from that American influence, so there has been some discussion around that, but there are no plans for that right now, to my knowledge. So that might happen in the future, but nothing is announced. Next up, some more news. Team behind Angry Birds to develop one-stop gaming shop for developers. Now, Angry Birds, of course, massive mobile gaming phenomenon from a couple of years ago. Not as big anymore now, but like around, I think 2010, it was everywhere. It was on, it's a mobile phone game. You've probably heard about it if you haven't played it yourself. Massively popular. They even turned it into a Hollywood movie a couple of years back. I don't think that movie did very well. It came a bit too late. But yeah, they are now developing a one-stop gaming solution for developers. Let's read the article. Beijing-based video game developer Cocos announced today that it raised $40 million in its latest round of funding. According to the announcement, the game developer received capital from Binance Labs, Neo Global Capital, and 500 startups, as well as unnamed others. The new capital will reportedly allow the company to accelerate the development of a new blockchain-powered gaming platform. Cocos is responsible for the development of popular mobile games such as Angry Birds, Clash of Kings, and Badlands, which all currently run on the company's open-source Cocos 2DX platform. According to their FAQ page, its new platform, dubbed Cocos BCX, will consist of 3 important components. The first is a game engine that will act as a game development software framework and virtual machine. If you don't know what a game engine is essentially a way around having to code every single line of code for your game. Like, video games are very complex and have millions of lines of code. And a game engine is essentially providing you some bits and pieces of code that you're likely to need that then you don't have to program yourself. Like if you're making a 3D game that needs to be lit in a certain way, like there needs to be like digital light, obviously, so you can see stuff. That digital light might be pre-programmed in a game engine, so everyone who wants to develop a game doesn't need to program their own lighting solution, because that's complex physics and a lot of complex coding. So a game engine is essentially a piece of software that is being sold to game developers that makes game development easier for them. And back to the article. The second is a visual and data-driven development environment. The last is the Cocos chain, which is a public blockchain designed specifically for games and high-performance, high-transaction applications. The tokens on their blockchain will apparently function as a medium of exchange, as a way to validate proof of stake, and as a governance tool. They will reportedly be ERC20 compatible. Development of the new platform began in November 2017, with the first test of a demo version taking place in March of this year. The release of the full testnet version is slated for the last quarter of 2018. The head of Binance Labs spoke to her company's investment in Cocos BCX. Gaming has potential to be the low-hanging fruit in blockchain industry, yet the application in this space remains largely untapped. Cocos is one of the largest gaming developer communities in the world, and their team has a proven track record in the gaming space. We hope Cocos BCX initiative will drive more real use cases for crypto adoption and reveal more potential of blockchain technology. It may not be low-hanging fruit for much longer, with other prominent video game developers also seeing the potential of blockchain technology to revolutionize the industry. In July, EVH News published an interview with Nicolas Poit, I'm not sure if that's right, of video game giant Ubisoft, in which he talked about how Ubisoft was planning on utilizing blockchain technology in its products. Now, Ubisoft, once again, if you're not a gamer, let me explain, because I'm a massive gamer, just a little by the side. Ubisoft is one of the biggest game developers and publishers in the world, with offices all around the planet. They are French, I believe, or French-Canadian, French, but they have offices in Canada as well. They make popular game series like the Assassin's Creed series, which is insanely popular, also has a feature film and everything. So they're huge, they're absolutely enormous. And that is big. That is big. We see gaming moving into crypto. Now, I don't particularly see how blockchain is useful for all kinds of video games, but there are some kinds of video games where blockchain will definitely be very, very useful. Anything with collectible items in a multiplayer environment, any type of card game, any type of game where there are rare items that can be on the blockchain, could be traded on the blockchain, could be it could be a good protection against cheating. Like there's a lot of potential applications, and it's nice to see the gaming world see the potential of blockchain. Now, of course, the gaming world is also massive, massive, massive. Video games are making more money than movies. So if large video game developers and publishers are moving into the cryptosphere, that will mean a lot of money flowing in. So this is like, I'm not sure how exciting this particular application is. We'll have to see how many games actually get built on top of it. But Ubisoft moving into blockchain is definitely very big. And last but not least, SBI is rolling out a Ripple DLT-based payments app on iOS and Android. Now, SBI, of course, the big Japanese bank that has partnered with Ripple a while ago, pretty much one of their biggest partners. Let's read the article quickly, and then I'm going to end this video because it's getting long. Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings is soon to launch a payments application for iOS and Android devices powered by Ripple's distributed ledger technology. Takashi Okita, chief executive of SBI Ripple Asia, a joint venture between SBI Holdings and the San Francisco-based Ripple, revealed the website of the application, named MoneyTap, on Wednesday. While an exact launch date remains unclear at this stage, the site indicates the application is planned to be available in autumn for both operating systems and used for customers of 3 domestic banks in Japan. CoinDesk reported in March that SBI Ripple Asia revealed the project was supported by the Japan Banking Consortium it leads, together with Ripple, who lends technological support. SBI Ripple Asia said at the time that the service would be first rolled out for consumers of SBI Net Sumishin Bank, Suruga Bank, and Resona Bank, 3 members of the consortium. After an official launch, it expected to expand the service to another 61 members. The application will let customers conduct domestic transactions 24 hours a day and 7 days a week by using a phone number or scanning QR codes in an effort to eliminate the time constraints imposed by traditional banking methods. SBI Ripple Asia is not the first major banking firm to roll out a consumer-facing application enabled by Ripple's distributed ledger technology, however. As reported, global banking giant Santander launched a similar service in April for cross-border foreign exchange among the bank's consumers in Spain, the UK, Brazil, and Poland. Now, this is very, very, very big news. This means that very soon 61 Japanese banks, actually 61 banks plus the 3 that started at the beginning, so 64 Japanese banks, all their consumers, all their customers will be able to use their online banking to send money using Ripple's technologies. So that means generally Ripple is aiming more for the international market, but this is an application in the national market where Ripple's technology will be used to send money between 64 banks using their mobile apps. That is very, very big. That is a very real use case for Ripple's technologies getting implemented very soon. This is super exciting to me. Super, super exciting. Now, it doesn't look like they are using the XRP token with that right now, but you have to keep in mind, Ripple's business plan is to make banks first use its own technology, its X-current technology, which doesn't necessarily need XRP, but which can use XRP. And then it tries to onboard them to using XRapid, which is going live later this year, which uses XRP tokens. Now, the way they're doing that is that X-current is faster and cheaper than traditional banking and than Swift, but XRapid is once again cheaper and faster than X-current is. So their business plan is essentially slowly easing banks in and consumers by first getting them to use Xcurrent and then leading them to also using the XRP token and XRapid. And anyways, either way, this is big news. This means a lot of money is also coming to Ripple, which they can use to further develop Ripple's technology as well as the XRP token. And I'm gonna end this video here. As always, thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys very soon, and all the links to these articles are of course in the description, as well as my social media links and some ways to support the channel if you would like. I will see you guys soon.